3 years, they are with us. And maybe if they are loyal, after that also they will be thinking of continuing. Of course, with this also there are problems. For instance, you know about home loans being taken over by the competing banks. They will lure you with offers, counter offers. I can give you 8%, they are giving 10%. I'll waive this charge, that charge. In the same way, competing companies can also lure people even when they are doing executive education program. So that is, I will take over your sponsorship. I'll give you more. I'll give this. So those kinds of competitive issues can also come in such models where companies are trying to retain the employees. Maybe out there are plenty of models, and I'm sure you are eager here to listen to industry stalwarts sitting here. What I will do is, to each of them I'll give 7 minutes because they have reduced our time. And then we will come back to them in case there are other points. Maybe 3 more minutes we can give to them subsequently. And then the remaining 10 and 20 minutes plus 5 minutes I have taken. The 10 minutes balance, 10, 15 minutes balance I'll open for the questions. Unlimited questions till the time is over. Till the time is over. So, where do we start?
Let Sachin start and
Okay. So then Mr. Sachin Tayal will give his views on the topic. Let's hope that he will come out with some more models.
Thank you, Director Sir. I'm absolutely delighted to be here for the second time. I have had privilege of working with some of IIM Rohtak students, and absolutely great to be here again. As you rightly put, it's not an easy topic. We'll talk about work models, but before we go into work models, let me share one personal experience with you. It was way back in 2001. I was working in England. I was still with Ernst & Young working for a client, and I was driving down. I had to drive down from Kent, which is in southeast England, to go up to Daventry, which is near Manchester. I was driving late in the evening. Young blood at that time was Generation Y as well. I didn't notice about the fuel tank, and as a run, luck would have it, I ran out of fuel on M25. Very scary, UK, they get a lot of rains, and only guy, I don't know what to do. I called up my colleagues in Daventry, and at that time my manager was also there. He was like 150 miles from there. They said, don't worry, we'll come down. My manager came down, helped me, it happens. We were really in a big soup. But I managed to arrive safe. Why in big soup? I'll tell you, because if you run down on fuel in a motorway in England, that's a punishable offense. They can actually put you in jail and can actually bar you coming back to UK or any other such countries. But my manager helped me. Reason why I mentioned this, how many household work models you have, but most important is you need to have a great boss. That's the first and foremost thing. I'm a great friend of him. He's no more my boss, but it's very, very important to have a great boss. And I would urge you to be such human beings in whatever companies you go to be. That's very important. But having said this, I also believe that these work models and work cultures can be formed and assessed by these organizations of what they are made of. And I would like to kind of go into the story on this two-axis model, what I believe in, with one axis being x-axis being compensation and career craft, and y-axis being work and life balance. Again, the sets are like low, medium, high on work-life balance, where high being that you're able to spend time with your family, you've got flexible working arrangements, you're not working on Saturdays, Sundays, you're taking holidays. On career compensation, high being that you are able to drive a Mercedes or BMW at the age of 34, 35. So if I see these two axes as sort of how you can put these, I would say there are three distinct type of models, work models, which I'm seeing you as a generation EY will see when you go out and work. And the first being, which I think Mr. Chakravarti mentioned quite a lot, I'm sure number of you would have, if not your parents, your relatives would have worked in companies like SAIL, Tata's, they would have worked in, BHLs, and we have spoken about Rob Keller, we were talking about Billais. If you think about these companies and these work models, they are primarily based on very high work-life balance. you will see the places where they're built, there are self-sufficient colonies. The way they work is all the employees, or at least they will work like family. You were born and brought up together with those people, and you cannot even think of actually leaving those places. You are sort of married to that organization. I remember working for one organization. They said like, our policy is hire to fire. And the fire means actually getting cremated. They didn't have any retirement age. And this industry was set up way back in 1935. People used to get hired and go to the cremation once after they've, kind of died. So that is a kind of commitment these companies had. But if you look at the other axis of these companies, which is a career and compensation graph, then the career is well laid out, well structured. You cannot run, cannot jump from manager to DGM or GM, but you have to go through manager to senior manager to AGM to DGM and so on and so forth. Again, you cannot expect your compensation to be high at 40%, 50%. To put it simply, you typically would not be driving a BMW or Mercedes at the age of 30, 35. Having said this, but there are a number of positives in it. And the positives are, you will have a great work-life balance, as I've already told. You will see, this is my experience. I have seen that number of students who go into IITs or IIMs or even the medical institutes, they are actually from these cities. The focus is so much on these studies that, for the kids, because of our parents come on time and spending time on them, they do extremely well. And this, from an organization standpoint, there has been a very low attrition as well. The third positive, which I find is very important, which is, I would say, urge Gen Y to consider, is, sometimes we call Lambi Race Ka Ghoda. There is a very low stress, and there is, to me, a very high sort of healthy well-being of the people who are working in such companies, because the stress is very less. If you work in places like Delhi or Mumbai, again, the time you take to travel, that itself will start kind of fitting to your on your health. So, and plus, given that you're well set in your career, you know how it will progress. Your ambitions are also very different, right? So these are the type A companies, these are type A working models, and to me, they have worked very well. I don't know how many will choose for these type of work models, but I think this is one type of work model. The other extreme side of these work models for the companies, like you might have seen the likes of maybe Bharti's, Reliance's, Sterlite, Indiabulls, these new companies where the hunger is very, very high. If you look at work-life balance, it could be low to medium, but if you look at career and compensation, it could be medium to high. You could be the ones who could be driving the BMWs and Mercedes at the age of 35. You can be owning your own house. You can actually work back in these companies, then move and join as an entrepreneur or as a vendor, which I've seen. So this is a second type of work models where these companies, you will, they expect you to work very hard, they expect you to run very fast, they expect you to be they expect you to be flexible about where you want to, they can actually, for example, like Bharti, I've been to Kinshasa, I've been to Gabon, I've seen people going to these countries where one would not even think of. And I know the guy who worked at Concord was very good. So these are the second set of companies. And the last one I would quickly, sorry saying that I should quickly conclude, is the third set of companies, which to me are the organizations of future. These are the companies like American Express, IBMs, and a lot of these IT companies, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Nestle, ITC. I think these set of companies are the ones which have got the balance on both the sides. It can help you choose, you can decide on what work model you want to have. They will have flexible working arrangements also, but you can choose that if you want to be high flyer, you want to work hard, you can actually rise much faster. So in the end, I would say it depends on your choice, and these are the basically three distinct type of work models which I see in the workplace today. And again, the organization, the last model which I described, about the third one, which is where you will see a lot of innovations happening and a lot of Gen Y is joining in over there.
We have a an overview of three very important work models with examples. Before we come back to Mr. Thayal, let's hear what Mr. Rao has to offer.
Sure. And you'll permit me to stand? Because I feel comfortable that way. So first of all, thanks for inviting me here. I've got all of 8 minutes, right? And I've got 4 slides to share with you. I work for Deloitte. Deloitte is a global brand. I particularly work for the US firm for their offices in India. And this topic about Gen Y makes very interesting conversation for me because I see a dichotomy between the US firm and its India offices. The US firm has seen people stay with them for 30 years, 35 years, ready to retire, like Sachin just said, from hire to fire. Probably there it'll be hire to bury. But the India firm is much more young and much more Gen Y oriented. And my hypothesis as we get into this 4-slide presentation is that as long as there is no dichotomy within the organization, I think it's fairly easy for organizations to kind of create an organizational model which caters to the larger cross section of people. And the reason I say that is I am way beyond being a Gen Y. But in terms of what I expect of my role, the way I behave at work, the way I relate to other people, other than the fact that I'm technologically challenged, almost all of it kind of replicates what typical Gen Yers do. And I think I'm fairly representative of the kind of people that I'm talking about at Deloitte. Today, probably Gen Yers constitute about 80% of the India firm of the US offices. And the rest of us probably we kind of mimic the Gen Yers. So there is no dichotomy per se, therefore administration becomes easy, but organizations where this dichotomy exists, probably what I'm going to be saying in the next few slides might appear to be a challenge and easily said and done. So just wanted to set a context for you guys. So basically what I'm saying is that organizations kind of need to redefine certain basic expectations. What is loyalty? I think that's a very, very defining word because people want their organizations to be loyal to them, organizations want people to be loyal to them, but what is loyalty? Historically, this has been seen as tenure. It's a function of tenure. How long do you stay in companies? Probably that needs redefinition today. I think loyalty is more about being committed and giving probably greater than 100% of what you can during the period that you're associated with a particular firm and vice versa. I think one of the challenges is that the Gen Yers are extremely tech savvy. They would like to kind of ride their technological brilliance. But I have also seen that they have this huge craving of getting face time with people who matter. About being able to connect with leaders, getting mentored by them. And this is not just a fad. It is just not for visibility. It is actually to gain of them. It is as though they're wanting to learn from other million experiences than wait to undergo themselves. Okay? They require recognition, but I don't think there is too much of formal wraparound in terms of formal R&R programs. They want recognition in the instant. They want recognition in terms of the peers. They want recognition to be published across the organizations. They want a feather in the cap, not necessarily trophies on the desk. So therefore, I think what is happening is organizations are, and I'm kind of talking with particular reference to Deloitte and a few other firms that I've got exposure to, have changed the paradigm in which they kind of connect with people. And the whole idea is about staying invested in people, spending time with them, create the forums where this one-on-one interaction actually is possible, and allow them to voice their opinions. Because I think voicing their opinions and seeing those opinions being implemented in some fashion or the other automatically lends itself to empowerment. You really don't need to do anything very, very specific. And that's exactly what we have done at Deloitte. And the next couple of slides, there are some few words out there. I'm not going to be reading all of it. I don't know, I'm hoping that this connects with you. So what I tried to put together was What are the energizers for Gen Ys? What gets them excited? Make them run? Some of the things like somebody said in the morning, meaningful work. Motivation theory is long time back. I talked about job characteristic model and stuff like that. Basically, if you find meaning in the work that you do, it automatically is an energizer. Okay, we're talking about authenticity. Okay, authenticity. Are you being, so somebody's talking about transparent processes and stuff like that. I think this generation and people who mimic them have a great craving for authenticity. Walk the talk, be who you are. Don't talk something and do something. Okay? They want multiple experiences in the shortest possible time. Traditional hierarchies, traditional career paths seem very stifling. You have undergone one particular process twice, it's done. It doesn't add any more value. Give me something more, something different. Organizations are now are getting to grips. Earlier, this was seen as an aberration of behavior, but today it's something very normal, and therefore the programs and the processes that are being drawn up in organizations address these things. Go to the other side, the dampeners. If the organization is rigid, if the flexibility doesn't appear, you have to do this much of stint, this tenure, these many ratings, this location, a dampener, it puts me off. If a query comes in and you take a huge time, huge is defined in the eyes of the beholder. If your response time is slow, it's a dampener. Okay? If the organization is expecting that you will first work, I want those